You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
You can put it on the board. Yes! Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever had as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! Boy, that's good stuff. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, all of our independents from coast to coast, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and Wow Cable TV. Thanks for joining us also on Hotel Television in all Nielsen-rated markets. I believe that's 210 of them, as well as everybody on Facebook, especially our friends on Chicago Food Favorites. Yes, of course we mentioned that because we can. We don't get paid anything for it. We're just doing it because we can. And guess what, folks? Right from the top, we've got our NFL analyst. And of course, he's a very large human, and we'll let him introduce himself as he always does.
All right, I'm Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker. And I'm glad to hear about the Chicago Food page on Facebook.
Yes!
Let's go foodies.
Yeah, that is Chicago Food Favorites, folks. In case you're not subscribed or following or joined or whatever, again, we don't get anything for this. Look, I'm the administrator for it. It's just something fun to do. And we're not trying to make a buck off it. We're trying to share food ideas, food pictures, food recipes, food whatever. But it's all Chicago-centric. Doesn't mean you have to be in Chicago. You could have a liking towards maybe barbecue or pizza or hot dogs or Italian beef or some of the other great cuisines such as Thai or Indian or Italian food or soul food. We love soul food. You never know. Cajun food, one of my favorites. Listen, folks, if you like it, and if you have an idea of where you can get some, anywhere in the greater Chicagoland area, whatever, go check them out there. And even Italian beef at Gold Belly. Now, this is for a friend of ours, goldbelly.com, and you can go check out Al's #1 Italian beef. They're at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago. And guess what? You go to goldbelly.com and check them out there. Just type in Al's Beef. It's the best in the business, the inventor in the business as well. And again, we get nothing for this, but just check them out. It is truly the best and the pioneer in the business, and of course in Chicago's Little Italy as well. All right, now that we've got all that out of the way, we've got NFL free agency. We've got a draft coming up. We've got a lot of stuff happening right now. Let's not timestamp this because we want to be able to encore this if we want to. But you know, some of the moves that have been made have been real head scratchers. Al, what do you got for us?
Oh, wow.
Give me one. Just give me one of them at a time, because this is going to go for.
I'm going to start out with the one that not only has me scratching my head, but it's got me scratching other places too. And that is, how could the Atlanta Falcons give Kirk Cousins $180 million? Well, wait a minute. And 75 of it is guaranteed. He's 35. He's 35 years old. He's coming off of an injury. He's only won one playoff game. And I think the thing that I think that happened was, they were cheating, by the way. If you're not cheating in the NFL, you're not trying. That's their rule. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. And they're all being reviewed right now, the Eagles and Atlanta. I don't understand it. Folks, you got to think about this. He's 35 years old. He's played 12 years. He's been injured out of 12 seasons, 50% of the time. He's not finished the season. He has one playoff win. One playoff win, and he's famous for, you like us now. You like that, don't you? You like that. Well, that's about the most famous thing this guy's done. If you're going to bring him in and you're going to have one single receiver of note, Drake London, you're going to have Kyle Pitts, the tight end, and you're going to have a decent run game, but you're not airing the ball out down. And a lot of people would say, well, Al, he was second to Tua Tagovailoa in quarterback rating before he got injured again. Well, they were 0-4. The Vikings were expected to win the division. They were a playoff team in 2023. How can you give an injured player 75 million, 80 million guaranteed? Guaranteed means no matter what, you get paid.
Well, listen, further, this guy, we, as you said, one playoff game. This guy's a regular season quarterback. Folks, there's a big difference between a regular season guy and a postseason guy, right? You have season number 1 and season number 2. This guy has laid an egg in season number 2 because his team can't finish. How do you give this guy this kind of money in the twilight of his career when you have guys, in my opinion, that Atlanta probably could have gone after? Now, mind you, we're in Atlanta's market on 99.1 WDJY. Folks, I'm really confused for the people down there in Atlanta that are making decisions because I don't think this is really a good decision. Look, there are guys that are, in my opinion, that were better opportunists, if you will. You have much better opportunities with 5 or 6 different guys out there. And frankly, I'm completely befuddled on this one. Honestly, I would have taken Russell Wilson over this guy. This guy's at least won a Super Bowl, for Christ's sakes. And Pittsburgh went and took him. What do you think, Al?
I thought that was a brilliant move. Russell Wilson will flourish. But you know what I like about Russell Wilson? It's a $1.2 million show me the money contract. Athletes respond to those kinds of contracts and those incentive labels. His incentive package is $1.2 million. He gets $1.2 million for playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. That's the way you drive your team to success, because everybody's supposed to be pursuing a Lombardi trophy. A Lombardi trophy. If that's not your mindset, you are in the wrong business. And that's the mindset of the Steelers. I know, I played against them when I was in Cleveland. They don't play. Great move on their part.
Yeah, that really was a good move. And I have to say, I'm not so sure about the money side of it, but I do like the Bucs re-signing Baker Mayfield to a few years. I like that. The money, I'm a little unclear about it. That's above my pay grade, buddy. I don't know. But what I will say is that Baker's a gamer. He's a lunch pail guy. And I like the guys that'll get in there and mix it up. Somebody described him as a linebacker in a quarterback's body. Is that fair to say?
I think that's accurate. But I'll tell you what happened. It was a package deal. Had they not signed Mike Evans first, they were not going. No, let me put it the other way around. If Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield were not going to be playing together, neither one of them were going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer this year. I heard that from a reliable source.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, if you don't have your number one guy out there, what's the point in having a quarterback that can hurl it to him? And so, for example, over in Chicago, I really scratched my head at this. Now I like Keenan Allen. I do. I've watched him for years and years in San Diego and in L.A., right? He's a Charger to me. The problem is Keenan Allen is on his way out, in my opinion, and in the same way Kirk Cousins couldn't stay healthy, Keenan Allen is on the shelf every damn year. And I don't think that's a good signing. And honestly, the Bears don't have anybody to throw the ball to them. So that just means... let me look. Justin Fields is not the guy. He's not the guy. End of day, is it going to be Caleb Williams? No, I think the Bears are going to make a move for a veteran quarterback. They're going to deal off that number one pick, or they may keep him, get a number one, right? Because really what they should be after is Marvin Harrison Jr., in my opinion. But, I mean, he is the best receiver in the class right now. Keenan Allen's not going to be the guy. We know that. I think a lot of people know that. But at the end of the day, in our last minute of the segment here, it turns out that maybe the Bears go after a veteran quarterback to train the young kid. And here's what I'm thinking with this, Al. I'm thinking that the Bears are likely going to take Caleb Williams as the first pick, but also, I shouldn't be timestamping this. I have to cut this out. I'm kidding. But I also believe that the Bears are going to take a guy, all right, fasten your seatbelts, but I think they're going to bring back home Jimmy Garoppolo to train the young kid, because Jimmy G is from the northwest side of the city, or the northwest side of the Chicagoland area. I think Jimmy G is coming back to Chicago to help with the young kid, to train him, right? And then the young kid will take over. Take 30 seconds, talk about that, then we're going to break.
I think that would make sense, but I think when you talk about Caleb Williams, you really would have to get an offensive line. That'd have to be your priority. You'd have to protect him, because we saw how he responded under pressure. He does not like to get hit. And this is the NFL, and there's a lot to learn. And he's not as mobile as, outside of the pocket. He's not like a Justin Fields. And these linemen are used to short second blocking because they got a escape quarterback in Justin Fields. Completely different kinds of linemen that you need for Caleb.
Absolutely. I look at it this way. I mean, look, the Bears are in trouble at the quarterback position as always. They haven't had a quarterback since Sid Luckman. It is what it is, folks. And we're going to be back here in just a few minutes with Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker. I love that. That's the best thing that he's ever said to me. And that's the introduction, folks. We're going to be back with Big Al in just a few minutes, and that'd be Big Bubba. And don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus. Back in a few. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus. Join me and Hall of Fame world champion and all-star celebrity guest for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms. Also, thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Certainly. Don't you give me none of your back talk. Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker. A big thanks to everyone tuning back in on television, radio, and social media. And I'm just chopping it up with my man, Sal Tuzzolino.
Oh, come on, man. You're killing me here. Oh, jeez.
Tuzzolino. Black guy from Newark, New Jersey. I did pretty good, Tuzzolino.
You know what's funny?
Tuzzolino.
So Al, we used to have a guy on this show. He was an intern, probably about back in 2017, and his name was Malik Ricks. And I still keep in touch with Malik. He's a great guy. I see him at some local media events every now and then here in Vegas. And every time we would let him bring us back from break, some way, somehow, he would read one of the sponsor reads. This segment brought to you by whatever. And somehow he'd foul it up. Of course, we got to watch our language here, but you know where I'm going. He would mess it up. And every time he'd mess it up, we would blow him up. Right? Just like that. We'd always play that sound because somehow he would get like 90% through it, but then he'd make a mistake. So we ended up calling him Kid Dynamite, right? And that's where the explosion thing came from. And the name, you got everything right. I mean, you know what my name is. But somehow in your infinite wisdom, you add an extra Enio or Ene or E. I have no damn clue how you're getting that information, but somewhere it seems to come out. But it doesn't.
You got to give me more reps and let me bring us back more often.
I'm trying to give you more reps, man. You're killing you, if you know what I mean.
Got you.
Oh, by the way.
You know me. I'll keep working it.
Hey, you know what? Keep work that thing. Right? Tyrone Poole with his work that thing. Oh, by the way, folks, if you want to call in, I'll tell you what, you got to watch your language, but I will let you in. Don't make me have to go back through and edit anything out because I don't edit a damn thing out. I really don't. So I'll tell you what, 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935. If you want to call in and ask Al a question, or you could actually send it by way of messenger as well, and you could do that on Facebook, because everybody that's watching on Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites, of course, a nice round of applause for them. If you want to go ahead and just send in a message to me or to Al. You know what, Al? The one thing I haven't done is I haven't tagged you in this ongoing video, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll tell you what, Al, give everybody a 1-minute cooking tip, and then we're going to get right back to chopping it up.
All right. Cooking is all about passion. Don't be intimidated by these long recipes that you see people creating inside of your phone when you go to see the best corned beef and cabbage recipe, or you go to see a recipe for how to make the best corned beef. You use your own recipe and your own passion, and if it doesn't work, here's the key. Make sure you write it down and improve on it each time. It is a repetition type thing. That's how you become a great cook. And there's no such thing as failure. You understand what I'm saying? You try it, you give it your all, and you write down, and then you tweak it, and you tweak it. No one in the cooking industry ever gets it on the first try. And if they're completely happy with that first try, I don't want them on my team, because everything that I've ever made, especially red, I've always tried to tweak it. Here's a little insight to how detailed I was. I had my smoker designed so that I could see the direction that the smoke was going over the meat, so I could be consistent every time. That's the key.
Yo, I would have never thought of that. That's unbelievable. Holy smokes, man. Get it, Smokes? Come on. All right, tip your waiter. We're here all week. That's great
no
stuff.
No pun intended, huh? Holy smokes.
I know, but that's great stuff. I mean, who would have thought of that? You did. I would have never thought of that.
Oh, you should think about my preps. The way I would walk in and train them, and I'd watch them on camera, I needed each brisket to be trimmed. When I said to an eighth of an inch, I meant an eighth of an inch. I'd come in there with my tape and I would test it. I would pop test them. Well, if you left an inch on one time and a quarter of an inch and then not an eighth of an inch, now you're going to get a different result. And anybody that came to my restaurant can tell you they got the same food every time, except on a Friday night when they knew I was off. Is Bubba here? Well, he's not here. Well, I got a complaint to make. And that was the reason I got out of the business. I
you
just
know what? Hold on, man. They would come in and complain because they'd say, "Where's the big guy? Oh, he's not here. Now I can complain."
That would be the exact expression too, Sal. You know what happened, especially after the Shark Tank thing? They would bring guests, and I always walked the floor and sat at tables and yucked it up, you know. I never drank with a customer. I've never drank with a customer in 40 years. But I would sit at the table and you know, and just be Bubba, do what I did. And people would come back and they would bring guests. And if I weren't there, they complained. I mean, the servers are the one that fed this back, and they were like, "Mr. Baker, whatever you've done to this place, Friday nights, everybody knows you're off." Because I wanted to attend high school Friday football. And that was my date night with my wife. Ohio had the greatest Friday football. And I would drive all over the state to see Friday football. That was my thing. And everybody knew that. And they would complain. They would, literally 99.9% of complaints were Friday night when I wasn't there. And when it came time for us to either grow, because you can't stay the same, or stay the same, I decided to walk off of it because I wasn't going to be driving to 2 locations to try and keep people pleased. And it's flattering, but it was my fault. I built the business model on my back. You, Sal, who knows better than you? I built that model on my back. I was there every day. I was there yucking it up with the preps at 6 a.m. I was the last person to leave 6 days a week, well, 5 days a week because we were closed on Mondays. Mm-hmm. That was the Sabbath for us, you know. If God could build the world in 6 days, then I could do my business in 6 days. That was my philosophy. Well, and so I just tired out. I burned out.
Look at it this way. And for all those people out there that are thinking about whether you start your own restaurant, because, I mean, food's the big deal these days, right? We don't make anything in this country anymore except food, right? And we don't even grow our own stuff for the most part. But for all those people out there that are saying, you know, I want to do my own podcast, I want to do I have my own restaurant, whatever. Look, if you believe in yourself, bet on yourself. That is how you do it. You've got to have some intestinal fortitude, and you've got to be able to say, you know what, I really think this is going to work, and you can't have a whole lot of reservation. Everyone's going to have a little bit, but at the end of the day, you're going to dive in that pool. Even if you're not, I don't dive, but I will go head first into things because I believe in it. Now, if I'm even thinking, I don't think so, I'll just stay away from it. So, folks, if you think that you're putting something together, it has some legs, whatever, don't be scared. Just do it. And that's how you've got to do it. I just like that little logo, that swoosh thing, right? Just do it. Whatever. No plug for them, but it's true. So, Al, you did it in the restaurant business. I mean, think about your football career. We're going to get back to football in a second here. But whether it is in media or in food or in manufacturing, maybe you have an idea. Maybe you're a songwriter. We have a very diversified show from television and film to sports to business to science. And this started out as just a radio show on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. when nobody was listening, right here in Las Vegas on Fox 1340. Oh, you're not any good. You're not going to be any good. Really? How'd that work out? We turned out to be the third nationally syndicated show out of that same studio over at Lotus Broadcasting right here in Las Vegas. So, folks, they didn't know what they had on their hands. But guess what? At the end of the day, I believed in it like you need to believe in your recipes and your business models and whatever. Maybe you want to do a podcast. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Believe in it. And if you believe in it, bet on it. Because then you're going to have to say, show me the money! Damn right. Show me the money. And I'm going to show you some results. All right. Listen, a couple minutes back in this segment. I want you to finish up before we go to break, Al. I want you to talk about what the heck is going to happen for the quarterback situation in Chicago. Give me a quick minute on it. I'm going to follow up, and then we're going to go to break.
I like the Jimmy G idea. But I question bringing in a Keenan Allen after an injury when Justin Hubert, who was a stud, was throwing him the ball. Who's going to throw him the ball with an arm similar to that in Chicago?
Hold that thought. Because Justin Fields, if he stays in Chicago, we've already seen this movie. Justin does not have the arm that people think he has. And worse, I believe, and this is just me, I'm just a person who watches football. I never played, I played baseball. But I can tell you from what I see, this guy runs away from his protection. He runs out of the tackle box. And let's face it, he's trying to get some momentum to throw the ball downfield. He don't have the arm, and he makes a lot of bad decisions. And worse, Al, he makes bad decisions late in the game. In the last 10, 20 minutes of the game, this guy makes a lot of mistakes on the field. Justin Fields is not the guy in Chicago. You need a different quarterback that can get these guys the ball. Keenan Allen can't stay healthy, but when he does stay healthy, the guy can catch the damn ball. And you've got DJ Moore. You got a couple of guys that are good, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be Fields that's going to be hurling that ball. He's out, in my opinion. 10 seconds, we're out.
My 10 seconds will be spent on this. I watched Keenan. He can catch a BB in a hailstorm. He's got great hands. He just can't stay on the field.
Got that right. All right, folks, we're going to be back here with Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker, in just a few minutes here on the Circus. We're going to go to some other teams, too. And a big thanks to everybody watching on Chicago Food Favorites. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Yes, on Facebook. We're talking about that on a TV and radio show. Why? Because we can. Go to Chicago Food Favorites and make sure you join that little group. It's fun. You can share your recipes, talk about food from all over the world. We'd like to keep it Chicago-centric, of course, which includes all cuisines, not just Italian beef and pizza and hot dogs. There's a hell of a lot more, and Italian ice, by the way. There's a lot more to it. Have some fun with it, folks. We don't get paid anything for doing this. And guess what? We even had Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker, talking about barbecue ribs on this show, and he's going to tell you a little bit more as we move along. But believe me, folks, it's a lot of fun. Nobody gets any money. It's just a cool thing, something fun to do. And listen, go ahead and participate and have some fun with it yourself. Yes! And tell your friends about it too. Like and subscribe. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. We're back here with Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker, talking a little bit of free agency. And we're already past Minnesota or past Chicago. Talked a little bit about Tampa, a little bit about this team and that team. And you were just talking about the LA Rams. Why don't you pick that up, Al, and talk about the Rams, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think today is a sad day for the Rams. Aaron Donald, surprisingly, shockingly, retired. I didn't know anything about it, and I know people in Los Angeles. He's an 8-time All-Pro. He's a 3-time defensive MVP in the entire National Football League, but more importantly, from the interior. And folks, you got to understand this. He plays on the inside where the big, mean guys play, where the bad guys play, where the 350-pound sumo wrestlers grab you and throw you around. And that guy has 111 sacks. Think about it. 10-year career, that's an average of 11. And if you get 6 to 7 sacks on the inside, it's a good year. So for him to play at the level that he's played, he's led the league 5 times from the inside as a defensive tackle. Folks, what we're talking about here is we're talking Merlin Oakes, Deacon Jones, Big Bob Brown, Big Daddy Lipscomb type, Bubba Smith type numbers. He's going to go down as in the top, maybe, well, let's put it this way. He's got to be one of the top 3 most famous Rams, including Eric Dickerson, including Merlin Olsen, Fred Dreyer. I mean, he's up there, and he retired. And what I understand him to be better than anybody, he's a great locker room guy. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. You cannot replace locker room guys. And what I mean by a locker room guy, a guy that can mingle. Yeah, he's cool with the defensive lineman, but he's respected by the rest of the defense. He's respected by the coaches. He's respected by the people. His work ethic sets the tone for everybody. And the most beautiful thing that I've ever heard, I heard him in his press release, and he's walking away from the game. As far as I could tell, he didn't say he had a neck injury or back injury or anything, no injuries. What defensive lineman, what we call that is a walk-off, like a walk-off home run or a walk-off touch. He walked off the field and not was carried off. And his statement, this is how beautiful it is. He said, I want to walk off the field healthy with my mind intact, and I want to go do something different. Man, as a defensive lineman, to walk off the field with a little bit of change in the bank, something in your piggy bank, and you're healthy, that's a sack, fumble, pick it up, run it in for a touchdown. You can't have any more other than maybe some ribs. You can't top that. He did it all, and a Super Bowl win. So the guy is in my book. And by the way, I think they should just give him a yellow jacket tomorrow because he's a first-time Hall of Fame ballot. The minute his name comes up, he's in there. Nobody's going to object to it.
Yeah, nobody's going to dispute that whatsoever. I mean, look, this guy, he's done everything you can. 8-time All-Pro. Folks, there's a big difference between All-Pro and Pro Bowl, right? One's a cat show, and the other one, you're voted on by your peers.
Exactly. Exactly. But the thing about it is, when you lose character guys in the NFL with a 10-year career, you cannot establish character in the National Football League as a rookie, not even as a second-year man. It's over a period of time. How are you in terms of the time tested? And that man, and he's had some contract squabbles, but he handled them with class.
Right. He's a class guy from top to bottom. And I want to turn my attention to the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Cleveland Browns go and make a quarterback signing recently. Of course, we really don't want to timestamp this one. But the Browns made a very interesting backup quarterback signing. What do you make of that?
Sal, the Browns, they puzzle me. The Browns, what are you doing with, the Browns were talking to Cam Newton at one point. So I've lost touch with the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure I understand what their goal is. They were a running team. They've made some other decisions. I think the Browns are more of a wait and see team because what they're going for. I don't know who they are anymore.
It's very confusing because you've got a team that defensively they're rock solid, but what the hell are they doing on the offensive side of the ball?
Number one defense. And they have an offensive coach. I don't understand. I didn't understand their running back situation. I didn't understand their late season decisions. The quarterbacks that were being played. I mean, they had a young man from UCLA, Darius Thompson Robinson, 6'5", 235 pounds. Everything that I thought that they were looking for, decided not to play the kid. I mean, great athlete. I don't know what the Browns are doing.
Well, and he had good coaching over there at UCLA too with Kelly, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. This kid, Darius needed reps, and the Browns were a defensive team first. He had one game where he turned the ball over 3 times, and they never went back to him. But this young man played good football.
You know what this reminds me of? Think back to when the Browns, in our last couple of minutes of the segment here, think back to when you played in the drive game, right? Yeah. And so you've got indecision between the coaching, and Bernie wanted to do one thing, the coaching wanted to do something else. This is what I'm seeing with the Cleveland Browns right now. And I'm seeing a conundrum between the coaching and what the offense wants to do. Is that wrong?
Hey, when you have a Nick Chubb and you have the number 34 forward, when you have a guy that runs for 846 yards as the backup to Nick Chubb, and then I don't know if they're going to have Kareem Hunt back because I'm sure he signed a 1-year deal, but you're a run team first, play action and pass. You don't have to necessarily rely on it. And I got to tell you this, the city of Cleveland and myself, no Joe Flacco, I am sick. That to me is just how they didn't make something. The guy he owned that city. I don't know what the Browns are doing. I just don't.
Yeah, and the Colts turn right around and they signed Joe Flacco. And look, Joe got the job done for Cleveland with the best tools that he had. he had kind of a half a team out there, and Joe did very well. I think it was a big mistake for them not to re-sign Joe Flacco. And let's face it, he was cheap too. You had a really nice piece of bubble gum for the dam, so to say, and all they had to do was keep that intact because you got a guy that could step in for your number one in case he steps in number two, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, that's the Browns. I retired for the Cleveland Browns, and so I can say to you, I'm puzzled by it. They had the quarterback. I mean, give Flacco an entire offseason to work with them to see where you were going. Deshaun Watson, and no matter how you look at it, he's a disappointment. Any way you look at it, he's a disappointment.
Yeah,
and so are you stuck with him? Denver got out of the deal with Russell. It cost them. But why would you keep Deshaun Watson on? He's not popular. He's not who you think he is. And here he is coming off of an injury as well. So I don't know.
Right. I mean, when I think of Deshaun Watson, I say, here's a kid that could have been really special. And some people say, in our last 30 seconds there, some people say, well, he's a product of the system, right? Because system. I get that. But at the end of the day, you've got to, stay healthy. Oh, by the way, you got to stay out of trouble too, because that's kind of part of it. And so the media doesn't like him because of the things that happened down in Texas. And you can't run away from that. Jimmy Haslam did what? He signed him to some crazy $250 million deal. And I think he's going to get burnt on that $250 million. Whatever. Let that be a lesson on guaranteed money for all you people signing others for tens or hundreds of millions. Back here with Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker in just a few minutes, folks. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049. Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-296-1209. 800-296-1209. That's 800-296-1209.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Al Bubba Baker, quarterback breaker and the rib maker.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Al Bubba Baker, the quarterback breaker and the rib maker. Hey, a big thanks to everyone tuning back in on TV, radio, and of course on social media. And while we're talking about social media, let's talk about, you can find us at the Sports Circus. You can find us on the Chicago Food Factory. All right. And I'm going to turn it back. Hey guys, I just blew that one. It's the Chicago Food page. So I'm going to toss this one right back. Now, let me tell you where you can find me, because I just blew that one. I have to tell you, that was a fumble. Let me tell you where you can find me, and I can at least do this one. You can find me on Al Bubba Baker on TikTok at Al Bubba Baker 111. You can find me on Al Bubba Baker on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Chicago Food Factory. One of those places, but you can find us on Facebook, that's for sure. I'm going to toss this back to Sal before I say a swear word. Here's Sal Tuzzolino.
Oh, you got that wrong.
Might as well go ahead and fumble it all, Sal.
Oh my God, I'm dying over here.
Okay.
That's the best part about this.
That's
folks.
my ADHD going.
Oh, that's all right, man. Oh, you're killing you. That's fine, man. This is great. And see, the best part about this, folks, we don't cut nothing out. We can't. It's out there. Whatever's out there is out there. The cool thing is, everybody watching on Facebook, you can watch this again because it's uncut. It is what it is. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, you got this guy over here. It's Chicago Food Favorites. Chicago Food Favorites.
Chicago Food Factory. Chicago Food Fun.
Yeah,
I was close. It was an F in there somewhere.
I don't know. It's one of those. But anyway, Chicago Food Favorites, welcome back. Make sure you follow Al. Now, Al did get that stuff right, how to follow him. Al, what was that information again? How to follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on TikTok, where I'm focusing the most at right now, on Al Bubba Baker 111. And you can follow me on the rest of them at Al Bubba Baker, just straight Al Bubba Baker. And I'm doing a little bit of motivational speaking. Sal was giving some tips earlier about putting both feet in with whatever you do. I would like to just add one other thing. The only place where you find success before the word work is in the dictionary. So you got to put the work in.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Lombardi.
Hey, listen, Al, when we were on break, you were telling me some other things that you want to cover, maybe with the Kansas City Chiefs, etc. Go ahead and take that over for a bit.
Yeah, I just want to quickly talk about this. The way the NFL is structured is this. When you win the Super Bowl like the Kansas City Chiefs have back-to-back, everybody else, 31 other teams, are pursuing or should be pursuing the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And here's what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They came right back and they went out and got Hollywood Brown, or in this case, Marcus Hollywood Brown from the Cardinals. They got a speed demon. They got a guy to stretch the field. And now you got Rashid Rice, and you've got the all-time, all-pro, Hall of Fame tighter in Travis Kelce. They improved, but they signed their number one defensive player to a $158 million contract they secured. Chris Jones, here you have a team that is not resting on their laurels. The other 31 teams should be trying to impress, that should be trying to improve from that point and keep the Kansas City Chiefs from having a three-peat. And I don't see a lot of teams doing that. Let's talk about the 49ers. They lose Eric Armstead. What did they do? Talk about a good organization. Well, they went out and got 3 defensive tackles. Not one. They got Jordan Elliott, they got Marcus Collins, and they got Kevin Givens. Well, they replaced Armstead. One of these guys have got to make it in that 4-man front. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions made it to the division championship game, the NFC championship game, and didn't make it to the Super Bowl. What did they need? They needed 2 cornerbacks. They went and got both cornerbacks. But they needed a space eater. And who did they bring in? DJ Reader. You got to see DJ Reader in his uniform. They say he's 6'3", 335. I say he's 6'1.5" and about 400 pounds. And there's no 2 human beings that can block him. Why is that necessary? Because he's going to push the pocket back. And the one end, in this case right now, Hutchinson, he'll come around the end better. We're talking about a guy by the name of James Houston on the other side. We don't know. They bought 2 free agents in. And then there's one other team I wanted to talk about. And I think they really, I'm calling it early. I think the Ravens secured a Super Bowl spot. And they're going to overtake the AFC. Derrick Henry at 6'3" and 250 pounds behind that team's mentality. They're not going to need for their quarterback to win games. They're going to need that quarterback. They're going to need Lamar to not turn the ball over. You see what I mean? Sal, there's a difference. So now you've got the number 1 running quarterback. You've got a power back in the vein of Jamal Lewis from their 2000. Remember in 2003, this guy had 2,000 plus yards rushing. Look out for the Ravens. That's what they've done during the free agents mark. And we already talked about Kirk Cousins, but the Russell Wilson, that's an improvement. Saquon Barkley in Philly, that's an improvement, I'll tell you. And then Mike Evans staying in Tampa, that's an improvement. And
yeah, that's where you go. The Derrick Henry signing for Baltimore is a really big signing because extra heat has been taken off Lamar Jackson. So now Lamar can be a quarterback, and he's got a bona fide number 1 that's arguably the best running back in the league. As your guy in the backfield, you don't have to take those big hits anymore. Now the question is, can Lamar Jackson stay in the tackle box? That's the next one.
I think we saw him until the playoffs. We talked about this. The playoffs is a different season. I think he made the statement. I just remembered. He made the statement that he was going to carry the team on his back. He said he had something to prove. Well, that's the wrong statement. You never heard Joe Montana make that statement. You never heard a Patrick Mahomes make that statement. That's just too much pressure on the position. What you want to do is make the plays. You need to make the plays at the time that the plays, man. You don't throw the ball into the end zone in triple coverage. And so having a Derrick Henry allows you the opportunity to hand the ball off, watch him get 3 yards in a cloud of dust or more, and hurt a whole lot of people while he's doing it, stiffing people on with that stiff arm of his. But the reality of it is that was the piece that they were missing. They are a physical team. They're number 1 defense. That's what they needed. They went out and got that. And I mean, hey, listen, this team was 1 play away, in my opinion, and it was their own fault. As I said, Lamar said he was going to carry the team on his back. That wasn't the right approach to beating the Kansas City Chiefs at home, in that weather. You hand the ball off. That's what the Chiefs did. The Chiefs only beat them by 7 points in their own place.
Al, a bit of irony is the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens very well could have been the matchup in the Super Bowl because they both made small mistakes that cost them the game. And at the end of the day, these 2 teams have gotten themselves better. So the likelihood of them being there is a hell of a lot more likely for next season than it stands maybe just a handful of weeks ago.
Well, you don't win the Super Bowl. I was being facetious when I said that they're my team, because a lot of people are picking their teams with 3 days into the new season. I would have to say at this point, who filled in the puzzle as best from the playoffs last year? It would have to be the Ravens for me.
Yeah, I think the Ravens did here. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I want you to just give everybody 1 minute on the value of a quarterback getting to the Super Bowl and winning versus one that win one, lose one, win one, lose one. What is the difference between those quarterbacks? Take 1 minute and we're out.
Okay, number one is leading the team. Quarterbacks are now referred to as franchise quarterbacks. That entitles everything under the roof of the organization. So on the field, you're a leader. Off the field, you're a leader. In the locker room, you are a leader. And if there's somebody who needs to be grabbed by the collar and pulled in, you're the guy that does that. The guy that just makes touchdowns and does dances is not going to be a Super Bowl quarterback. His mind's got to stay in the game from start to finish. And I think that we're seeing a lot of people mistake what a great quarterback is. And it's not his QBR. It's not how many passing yardage. And just the last thing I'm going to leave you with. It's easy for you to lead the league like a Kirk Cousins in passing yardage when your team is behind and you're throwing to get back in the game. Don't mistake yardage, guys, for a great quarterback. That's not how you become a great quarterback. You win in the big game. You win in the big dance consistently, and you lead your team.
You got that right. And listen, as I look at it, hey, you've got really good quarterbacks out there, but then you've got quarterbacks that say, damn, I did it again. I did it again and again and again. Guess what? We got a guy like what? Joe Montana. You get there 4 times, you win 4 times. In basketball, Michael Jordan. You get there 6 times, you win 6 times. You don't even see a game 7. These are the greatest of the greatest. Folks, you can chop it up however you want, but when those guys get there, they win. And that's what we're not really seeing in football, baseball, basketball, hockey today. We don't see the team that says, hey, we know when we're there, we're going to win. And at some point, the NFL may have that dominant team. And maybe for a stretch of time, it could be the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't know. Maybe it's the Detroit Lions coming up. We don't know. But that is what the league is missing. Final word for you, Al. Take 10 seconds, and we're out of here.
I'd have to say my Detroit Lions made me happy bringing in DJ Reader. And I wanted to leave you guys with how to find me on social media. Al Bubba Baker 111 and Al Bubba Baker. And I got that right this time, folks.
All right, that's good stuff. And folks, thanks for joining us today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and we'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. So until then, so long, everyone.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.